talking, start doing. Stop talking, start doing.
You're looking to be more creative and innovative?
Here on the beats.
And one of the keys to unlocking your potential is an entrepreneurial mindset. I like to say permission granted. No one is successful overnight.
Keep on keeping on.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening, wherever you are at in the world, and welcome to day 17, over halfway through 31 days to PADITU with me, Sean Griffin. Thank you for being here, and if you've been here all along, thanks for returning. Well, today is Sunday, and you know what that means? My mother's on the show, and she's going to be dishing out lots and lots of wisdom today. I can't wait to interact with her. It's been a while since we've seen each other in person, so it's always nice to connect on Sundays like this. Before we get going today, and we're also working on getting some people connected from some different parts of the world and been having more and more challenges with this, so hopefully they'll be able to join us. If not, we'll keep trying, and we'll bring in questions that you have sent us through text, and I'll read them and then give answers. Before we do that, I want to pick up on something Gary Schoeniger, our guest yesterday, brought up and talked about was micro experimentation. Amy, if we can move to the, move to the vision board. I want to pick up on this because this is an important, and I actually went out yesterday, went for a walk with family in the woods here, Chesapeake Bay. If no one's been, I recommend it. And getting some fresh air, kind of rebooting, haven't been out of the house for a while. And was really thinking a lot about this micro experimenting that Gary brought up. And I'm a big fan of experimenting. And I realized as I was walking that my life has been a series of micro experiments looking for traction and then going forward. I would even say that this PADITU, 31 days to PADITU, is a micro kind of experiment itself. But if you're out there and you're looking to move to a new place, create your own business, follow your dreams, achieve something that you've been thinking about for a long time, micro experimenting is really a great way, a fantastic way, and maybe one of the best ways for you to advance your ideas. So one of the first things I do when I think about a micro experiment and I'm going to experiment on a new idea, what I do is I want to decide what the goal of that idea is. And so I may be after revenue, right? If I'm after revenue, what I want to do is take that product or service I have, and what I'm going to do is sell. My experiment is selling. I'm also going to learn. So I'm going to go directly to the potential customers and start selling it. If it's a service such as graphic facilitation, graphic recording, I'm new at this. I've decided I'm going to try and see if I can get a client to buy my particular service. I can definitely go find people to start selling to and experiment with selling, running ads online on different channels for people looking for ways to think different, be more creative, team development, whatever it may be. Starting to sell whatever it is you've got. If you've got something you want to sell that you've been selling in the physical world and move it online, those are micro experiments as well. So moving move physical to online, right? Now, a micro experiment might be using an existing platform like Etsy, if it's an art piece, existing platforms that are there for you. I know that Facebook's got a marketplace. Lots of people sell stuff on Facebook. Craigslist. There's a whole bunch of different ways you can go about selling and experimenting, but using existing platforms to be able to then move your business forward. Another great way to micro experiment in terms of like pushing yourself to new limits is to take action. Hold on one second. I'm getting a call from my producer here. Amy. It says it's live here. It says we're still live. We're still live, Amy. Where are you? This is my producer, and I don't think she knows. Power has gone out in Tulsa, Oklahoma, everybody. Okay, wild. We're going to keep going. Okay, so we're unscripted. I just want you to know this. Back to micro experimenting. This is important. When I want to do another micro experiment, for instance, recently I got into, and I've had fantasies about producing music, being a manager for musicians or getting into the music industry. I have gone out and started writing music, right? I started writing music, and I identified Barrios Abdul in Uganda. He's in Nachavali. It's a refugee settlement there. And we started collaborating. We wrote one song. This was it. One song was the micro experiment. So it's just one step is the key. That one song led to the opening song you hear on this show, Bootstrap for Life. And then it's led to the second song, which is Keep On Keeping On. So one step at a time. And now we've got 11 songs and an entire album that will be released in September. The micro step was back in January. That step led to a song. That step led to a music video. That step led to 13 more songs now. The micro steps allowed for that to take place, one step at a time. Now, and I'll close it here and we'll bring in my mother, is that you got to do it afraid. We've talked about this before. A lot of times when you're stretching yourself and you're moving into a new space, new place, something you haven't done before, something you've thought about doing, but it makes you really uncomfortable, remember, you got to do it afraid. This is important. Do it afraid. Some people call it faking it to make it. I call it do it afraid. Because when I'm afraid and uncomfortable, remember, that means I'm probably in a good place because I'm growing, I'm stretching. But anytime you make one of these steps, one of these micro steps, one of these micro experiments, do it afraid. One step at a time. Don't worry about and think about the big picture and how difficult that is. Think about what you can do in this moment. This is critical, and this was really important in terms of what we learned from Gary yesterday, in terms of being able to move any ideal endeavor or concept you have forward. Micro experiments, series of small experiments. And as you do it, they get bigger and bigger and bigger. And all of a sudden, you've got something real. Okay, let's bring my mother in. All right. Hey, Mom.
Hey, Sean.
How are you doing?
A little laryngitis, otherwise good.
You're good? Okay. Well, it's good to see you here today, this morning. How's
Thank
Dad?
He's fine.
Good. Well, did you think about what you shared yesterday or last Sunday in terms of the affirmations and the information you gave people? People were moved, particularly, Mom, by your tenacity in terms of raising me and someone like myself. So I don't know, what are your first thoughts that come to you this morning from last week?
Well, you were an interesting child. You were very ambitious, always very busy, and kept us on our feet and trying to keep you in a place that was good for you as best possible at that time.
Yeah. Well, you did great, Mom. Let's be honest. Here I am.
We're both still here, so yes.
We're both still here. We're still PADITUing every day. So let's dive into something that I know you're passionate about, and that is creating sales and motivating people to action, and how do you close those deals? Let's talk about sales. And what are some of your key, for those who don't know in the audience, my mother's been in real estate, Silicon Valley now for 30 plus years. How many?
42.
42 years. Well, 42 years of real estate in the Valley. You've definitely got some great insights in terms of how to move people to make a decision to buy, to purchase, to close the deal. What advice do you have for people, anybody out there who's getting nervous or uncomfortable or trying to close deals out there and create some money right now? What advice do you have for them, Mom?
Well, it just takes tenacity. You have to stick with it. And I personally come from a place of what's best for the client. And here, it's a little unique in that it's really not as difficult to sell people things as in other places, because it's a very desirable place, being Silicon Valley. Even back when I started, it was still a smaller version of that and very desirable. Um, in sales, you go on appointments and do a presentation, and at the end of the presentation, you ask for them to, listing, or to purchase. If you're out showing property, you have to ask. And I think that is one of the major stumbling blocks for most people. They don't ask. They just, go do and wait and see.
Mm-hmm.
And if you're waiting to see if the buyer is going to buy, your odds are diminished, because who knows when wait and see is. Whereas if you go show property with the intent of, I'm going out to sell a house today, your odds are increased dramatically. And the same going on a listing appointment. You might be being interviewed with other realtors. People like to at least talk to maybe 3, and sometimes many more. And so if you don't ask, somebody else is going to ask and get it. So I think
Go ahead. I'm sorry. Keep going.
I think asking for the order, whatever the order is just about as important as showing up. Because if you don't ask, the odds are not in your favor at all.
Showing up. I'm going to stick with ask. You got me interested in showing up. We run across constantly, and I run across constantly, people who are even afraid to ask for help from
Yes.
people. So what is it that people can do to overcome whatever fear they have, to ask somebody for help, for money, to close the deal, to buy their product, to step up and just ask for whatever it is that they're looking for and help? What do you think holds people back from doing that?
Just do it.
Right. I mean, it's easy to say, Mom, but it's a slogan, right? For Nike even, but still a majority of people have a challenge with this, Mom, asking. So
Okay.
what can somebody do who, let's say, has never done it like you've done it for 42 years, like I learned from you being a kid through osmosis? What can someone do who hasn't had that capacity or is starting where you were 42 years ago? What were you doing 42 years ago when you were being rejected at first? And you've been through ups and downs and all the cycles that have been, that we've had economically. And now you've lived long enough to see this one. Which shows you if you live long enough, you'll see it all. What advice do you have people who are just starting?
Well,
testing the waters. I'll stop talking.
Sure. It depends what you're doing. Example, real estate, there's tremendous training that teaches you what to do. So it becomes incumbent upon you, the realtor, to...
What did you learn, though, Mom? Specific. To ask, to be stronger at asking, to be stronger at not being afraid.
Yeah, they didn't exactly teach that.
But you have a fearlessness. I know, Mom. So I'm asking you now. I'm going to go back to it. What advice would you give? Not what you went through, but you're from your own experience. What advice can you give people to find that strength, that tenacity, that intestinal fortitude, to be able then to ask for what it is that they're looking for?
A great enough desire for whatever you're asking. So, you have to desire it to be able to overcome. It's a fear, fear of rejection. And I don't know, in real estate, you rather get overdosed in rejection, and pretty soon it's like no big deal. But that's not the case probably for most people, that they have the opportunity to meet so many people to, hear no so often. And so I think it's being committed to whatever your goal is. Why you
a
want.
compelling goal. So yesterday we heard about it's got to be a compelling goal,
Yes.
and that when you are providing what your customer wants, what's best for the customer, you're more successful. Is what we also heard. We've heard it a number of times, which is amplifying what you're saying as well.
Yeah.
So it's easier to sell when you're selling what customer wants, what's good for them, and then the goal is your goal in all that was to make a happy customer, was it not?
Yeah.
And if the customer was happy, what would happen?
You got more business.
They come back and sell the house and buy another one, right?
Mm-hmm. Or they refer you to other friends, co-workers, so on.
So there's two things that are important about what you're saying, Mom. One, your focus is on getting the customer what it is that they most desire, want, and what's best for them, so that they're going to be happy over the long term. Not selling them something, a house that later they're going to be like, why did we listen to that lady? We bought this house, right? Instead, they're going, this was the greatest decision we made. How wonderful! We need to refer Noreen to somebody else, right?
Yeah.
So, and then two, what I hear you say, your goal is not the money, but the goal was to make a happy customer and give them what they want, so that you now are creating a longer term relationship with them.
Correct.
It became easier to do this as you did more and more.
Sure.
Like in practice, you're practicing a muscle. And what I'm trying to do is trying to reframe everything so it directs back out to everyone's watching, so they can apply it.
Yes.
So yeah.
Every no gets you, and I mean, you can look at things in all kinds of ways, but every no gets you closer to a yes. So, it's like not taking it personally. It's just the way it is. And that no gets you closer to a yes.
This is an important statement you made here, that not to take it personally when it's a rejection, when it's a no, when it's I'm not interested, when it's like, what are you doing here? What do you do? What exercises do you do to believe in yourself, to build up your confidence, so that you're not influenced by somebody else on the outside? External forces are not influencing you. You're good with who you are. You're confident in who you are, and therefore you're not going to be influenced by other people's rejections or whatever it may be. What do you do to keep strong?
I just am committed to my goal, and so I'm so committed to what I want to have happen that it's not. I don't take it as rejection. I would say probably in the beginning, you feel rejected, but it's a part of life. If you're going to be in sales, you're going to be rejected.
And everybody's in sales.
Yeah, one way or another.
One way or another.
Yes, actually, yes.
I'm selling myself. You're selling yourself. You're trying to get a job. We're all selling, and I just think people don't always pay attention to this fact, Mom.
Yeah, for us, it's like a job interview. Every client's a job interview, because they don't have to work with me. There are plenty of other realtors, and I mean, plenty, and
more than ever.
Well, yeah, and so it's just about sticking to it, and if that's what your goal is, because a lot of people come into real estate and they don't really have that kind of a goal. I think they came to see what would happen, and if and when it didn't happen the way they thought it would happen, they're gone. And so they didn't have a defined goal that they were going to do this, and they were going to help people and make a difference in their lives.
We heard about this yesterday with Gary, and I don't know if you had a chance to watch it at all.
I was.
Gary Schoening, you did. So he talked about compelling goals, Mom.
Mm-hmm.
and that the key to anybody being successful is this compelling goal to be able to keep going through the hardship of whatever endeavor they have in front of them. How do you go about setting goals, and especially like a compelling goal? Because that's what you're talking about. It's you're so committed to this that it's compelling to you, the goal. How do you set that compelling goal?
I decide what I want to do. Sometimes it's a new car. Sometimes it's just to hit the goal to be the top salesperson. It just varies for me, I mean,
But you're driven by goals.
the overarching goal is the service to the client. But then beneath that, there may be other goals that I set. You know, you need something when you're in sales. You need something to keep moving forward.
Yeah, but you're unique, Mom, in that I can think back now, and you would set goals, and you would achieve those goals, and you would post those goals. These are beyond the affirmations. The affirmations might be on top of the goal. But you would set goals.
Yes.
You would move those goals forward consistently. And so I'm wondering what it is you did. What is it about those goals? Where did you learn to set goals like that? Or was it something you grew up with? Or was it your mother who set goals?
No.
How did this all come to be?
Well, from some seminars, probably a lot of things came from seminars because there are people there that had a lot more experience and were teaching you about sales.
Mm-hmm.
So it all, it's not like you drop in and you turn into top producer unless you just are extraordinarily lucky.
Or have a great network of rich people who can sell their homes.
A couple of houses in San Francisco, yeah.
Yeah,
And,
not bad.
Make sure you're, and so.
It's the goal, Mom. It's the goal. Let's go back to the goal. Let's stay focused on this because we're getting comments right now from Paul Nambi, who's saying, great advice, Mom. What is it at the goal? How like, sit with me for a minute. Where does that come from for you? Where does that goal come from? Like it emerges from inside of you, and then you this is my goal. I'm going to go do it. Close your eyes and think about that for a minute. Where is that coming from, and how are you coming up with that goal? Whatever that goal is.
I don't know that I can explain it. It just is what I think about.
Mm-hmm. But you have something inside of you that's like always setting goals, right? Always new goals. They can be small goals, like micro goals, like Gary was talking about. These are micro experiments.
Wow.
But you are excellent at setting goals, and so even if it's next Sunday, you think about this and sleep on it. Something inside of you is unique in this way.
Well, I think goal setting came for me out of necessity when I had this little boy, and
that wouldn't be me.
Had to make some decisions about this little boy. And so from that came, I guess, lifelong goals for you that,
So I became the goal.
Yeah. You were.
I guess that's compelling to a mother. Let me tell you, I understand. I've seen it all around the world. Mothers many times make better entrepreneurs and better business builders because they're driven by the compelling goal of helping their family and their children.
Yeah. So there were many opportunities to set goals when you were young, with the school and mostly school, and not so much with just people in general. It was a school. So that's where goals for me started.
Gotcha.
And it was out of necessity. So it just became natural for me to decide and make a goal of something. Could
You
be
know what I'm thinking about, Mom, here?
what?
All those goals and all that goal setting you were doing, I was learning from you at those moments.
You were.
Even when it didn't look like I was, because it sticks with me, and I know what you're talking about, because the
And you're
intensity you would work towards those goals, which I didn't know I was the goal, or I didn't understand. I was too young, right? But I knew, and I could feel the intensity of what you were going towards, and could, through osmosis, was able to gain that. Oh, yeah, I lost you, Mom. Hold on.
No, I'm here.
Here you are. No, I mean the screen. I see it.
Oh,
You see what I'm saying?
I do see what you're saying.
So what does that mean for people who have children? You know, like I'm always drawn around Zane, and I do my goals. I do all my stuff around Zane, so I know, I can tell he's sucking it in, right? It's taking a sponging it up. I'm more intentional now with Zane because I know, I can see him. He wants to draw arrows. He's excited about drawing arrows, right? And so we are learning as children from a young age, from our mothers, from our parents, and your actions were such that they were noble, right? In terms of trying to figure out what to do with the school.
Your child is quite noble, yes.
Mm-hmm.
I'll get to think about it.
Right. And I mean, what's more noble than to help your children, right? And then to shift schools to be more open to children who are a little different, right? And so what advice do you have for parents or anybody who's out there right now watching around working within difficult situations with difficult kids, difficult children, but also difficult systems that kids are part of, that when a kid doesn't fit into those systems, what's some advice you have for parents in those situations?
Well, I don't know. What's best.
You do know.
Well, I'm going to say I don't know what's best for everybody, but what worked for me is just to look at the child and the situation and set a goal, and that clarifies much clearer your plan for the school or for the treatment or whatever it is, and it'll keep you on track. That, you know, in the end, it's going to be this. I mean, and for you, there were early ones to do with your life as an adult. So there were goals along the way, and for the situation at hand, and then there was for the rest of your life.
Mm-hmm. Did you reach some of those goals, Mom?
Well, it's hard to say right now. It was.
The verdict's still out. I still might go to jail.
I know. You're still a work in progress.
That's for sure. I'm getting smarter. Hopefully, 53 years.
Yeah, really. Huh? Well, you know, for instance, in school, in your very beginning, look, this is the kid that the first day at kindergarten, I walked back over to pick him up. Walking home, Sean, how was your first day at school? Well, Mom, that teacher told me to color the squares purple and the circles orange and triangles yellow. And I told her I already know how to do that. And she didn't even teach me anything new, that lady. And I go, well, that's your teacher, Miss Jones. And so I go, oh boy, this is going to be interesting. And indeed it was. So the first goal was to keep you in kindergarten.
Right. That didn't work. Did that work? Did I make it through kindergarten?
Yeah, you stayed in kindergarten. Oh, wasn't easy, but I got you in. And so a lot of them were just to keep you where you were. And then it became apparent that maybe where he is not the best place. So then other goals along that line. So initially, all my goals were centered around my children. And
that's great. So that's great. And then, but that's not a very manly thing to do, or men don't seem to have those same type of goals. It seems to be mothers that have goals around children. I don't know if you can see on a, I can see Patty Jones, Barbano Jones has written a comment on this.
Hey, Patty.
Hi, Patty. You know what I'm thinking, Mom, is that I know it was difficult, and I'm sorry. I'm sorry it was so difficult for so many years. I really do mean that with all sincerity. And
Well, I don't
really know. I mean, part of me, you know, realizes that somehow I had a gift of ejecting myself, or getting myself ejected out of different environments that were not working for me.
you were so good at it.
Yeah. If it doesn't work for me, I'll find a way out of it, you know. And I think that that's an important lesson I try sharing with everybody out there as well, is that, you know, if the environment, don't be in an environment that's not supportive, conducive, or working for you. Get out of it, find a way out of it. And when I was a kid, I didn't even know that consciously. It was all subconscious behavior at some level to get me out of that environment, you know,
Maybe.
which I know must have created just tremendous stress and torment on your end. Again, I'm sorry for that. Hopefully right now we can move past and share more about, because I know I'm not the only child out there like that, you know.
No,
there are other mothers and other people who are dealing with this, and those kids could be the next great entrepreneur, or they could grow up to be an entrepreneur, and they're not being challenged necessarily in the way that they need to be challenged. And what we learned, and what we know, and Gary was really strong on this when he was on the show, is that our education system stuck in the 1890s still, right? It's not designed to help us be the best we can be as humans. It's more of a factory model. What did you do, and how did you try to find different education locations for me, and how did you experiment with different environments for me to try and excel or be challenged in a way that I needed to be challenged at the time?
Well, I mean, really, at that time, there was, you know, it was the dark ages. There wasn't an awful lot.
Still might be more.
Pardon?
It still might be the dark ages in education.
Yeah, well, they're a little lighter, I think, than they were maybe. But so I don't know, Sean. We just let you follow. You were interested in playing the guitar, so we bought you a guitar. You took guitar lessons, and you
let me. I was dissecting animals at one point, and you let me bring home like cats and stuff to that.
Yeah.
You didn't like that, I'm sure.
No. Yes, and I had to. The teacher, he wanted to put you, mainstream you into the biology class because you were so interested in it.
Mm-hmm.
But the school, of course, said no. And so he came to me and wanted me to see if I couldn't get that to happen. And I said, okay. And so I went over and started talking to him about it. And eventually they agreed to put you in. And you got a straight A.
Yeah.
And,
so it's possible.
Pardon?
It's not all F's.
And you did bring home those animals. And but that was your interest at that time. And I don't know, I sought out reading help for you because school wasn't making it. You were never going to read if it was left up to them. And so.
See what I'm talking about, Mom? Right there. Just that. You may not have caught it, but I caught it. Everybody else saw it. You're like, and there, nobody else was going to do it, so I had to step in and do it. Where does that come from? That.
Just happens.
It's in you, you're saying. Was your mother like this? Was your mother like this? Who?
Pardon me?
Was your mother like this?
No. Very soft-spoken. And no.
I only remember a little bit of.
I'm not soft-spoken when. I'm not.
No, not like that. Not like you will. Okay. Well, you have something inside of you, Mom, that's very strong. And I'm so grateful for how you've influenced me. And I really appreciate you being on the show. Now we're going to do a little game together. I think Amy's back. Are you here, Amy? Can't hear you, Amy. There you go.
Yes, I'm here. I would like.
Back in Tulsa?
I would like to
Is
ask.
it true that Tesla's moving a new Terra factory to Tulsa? Is that true?
It's the Tesla factory. It's between
It's
Austin
called
and.
Terra. Instead of a gigafactory, I think they're called Terra factories. It's a new factory.
Oh, I don't know that much about it. I just know it's between Tulsa and Austin. And
can you give me some projections? First year on this show?
Our mayor is very. I mean, he's on this. Like, I can imagine.
The president.
Steve Bynum is. I mean, he. Oh, I hope. But I would like to ask our guest Noreen if you would let me interject with David, who is on another screen. With spotty Wi-Fi, and then we can come right back to you after his segment. Would that be okay? Would you be all right to remain with us? All right. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Amy. Thanks, Mom. We'll be back. David, can you hear me? David? He looks frozen to me. David's coming to us from Chengwali, Uganda. Can you hear me, David? You're on mute. You're muted. No, he's not. Well, Amy, I don't know.
Try now.
David, are you there?
Yes.
Ah, there you are. Good to see you. Do you have a question, David? What's going on? How are you?
Yes.
Hello?
David, can you ask your question?
He froze. Well, technology. Love it.
He's still moving. He just maybe try it. David, go ahead and ask your question, and we'll roll with it. David. Hold on. One moment.
Yep.
Yes, hello.
Yes, can you ask your questions, David?
Yes, hello, Sean.
Hello.
Hello.
Yes.
Hello.
Please ask your question, David.
Go ahead.
Yes. Yes, Sean. This is David. Yes, I am very grateful to be part and parcel of this.
Dang it.
So close.
Oh, technology.
I like his setup.
I do too.
I'm not sure what that shiny background. It's kind of translucent.
Yeah, it's really actually very nice.
Like oceanic.
A little ethereal.
Oh, we lost them.
Yeah, I'm sorry, guys.
No, that's too bad. We'll try again. Maybe they can make a video for us. You know, Amy, that would be good. Let's bring my mom back. Insights from Sean's mom. While we were away, did you any thoughts come to you that you want to share with anybody, or that you want to clarify?
No, not really.
Okay, we're gonna play a game, Mom.
Oh, great.
Anybody's watching, they can follow along, give us some more insights into Sean's mom and me. Amy, are you ready for this? How is this gonna work?
Yeah. So I was thinking about how it might. So let's see if I can go like this, and then I can go like that. All right. I think that could work, where I could ask my questions. I need you guys. We're gonna do put a finger down. So you need to put 10 fingers up. Put them kind of close to your face yet, where you can see them. All right. And I'm gonna ask my questions. Are you guys ready?
All right, we're ready.
Okay.
I'm not sure how silly this is. Go.
Yeah, put a finger down if you have ever said, if you have nothing nice to say nothing at all. Put a finger down if you've ever said, in 10 years, you won't even remember this. Put a finger down if you said, I don't know is not an answer. Put a finger down if you said, if everyone jumped off of a bridge, would you do it too? Put a finger down if you've ever said, you better wipe that look off your face. Put a finger down if you said, it's not what you said, it's your attitude. Put a finger down if you said, worry about yourself and you won't believe how far you'll get. Put a finger down if you've ever said, it's the principle of the matter. Put a finger down if you've said nothing good ever happens after midnight.
I would never say that. I would never say that. Even all good things happen.
Put a finger down if you've ever said, where are your manners? Put a finger down if you've ever said, if someone will lie for you, they will lie to you. Put a finger down if you've ever said, when you have children, I hope you get your paybacks. Put a finger down if you've ever said, raising your siblings was so much easier. I was hoping to help you out there, Maureen. Put a finger down if you said, don't roll your eyes at me. Put a finger down if you said, you're going to break your neck. Put a finger down if you've ever said, wait until your dad gets home. That one was for you, Noreen.
Oh.
It's true. She won.
Yay!
That was our first game on the show, Mom. Congratulations. I wanted to do this thing where we put our heads in a box. You know, they do this, Stephen Colbert does this. And I wasn't sure. We couldn't figure out how to do it online. But it would have been fun to have ourselves like talking about stuff. Really
Yeah.
But I think that with coronavirus, not so good. Amy, I see we had David back. Can we bring him back in, or is it not? Are you testing him? Well, Mom, I want to say thanks for being on the show, and thanks for all you do to help inspire people. You definitely have been inspiring. Thanks to everybody who tunes in to catch my amazing
Right.
and
Bye-bye.
Bye, Mom. Thank you. Well, I think we'll call it a day. It's Sunday. We're going to get David back here on here. He's got some amazing business builders he works with, and Chengwali does some amazing work every single day. He's putting a dent in the universe, and so is my mother. And I'm so blessed and grateful and so honored to have her as my mom. So with that, let's check it off here. Day 17 down. Whatever you're doing today, remember, put a dent in the universe. PADITU. Same time, same place. See you tomorrow. Thank you very much.
You got to never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up. Never ever give up. Keep it up, keep it up.
Believe in yourself and you'll go far.